the Hoops Jargon, man. I'm gonna add you to the crew, man. This crew called Hoops Jargon. They've been getting at it, man. They the ones that's gonna grill you, man, because they majority are all Houston people. So that's
shout out to Hoops Jargon.
Man, I'm here with my man with Hoop Jargon, the best in the game, man. And you know I only let selected few in my circle. And this is the real dude right here. We gonna get down with the get down.
What's up, everybody? Your boy Hoop Jargon, man. And I know I typically don't do this format, but I saw something on the Fox News Network. And sorry I'm not cammed up today, man. My ring light has officially died on me, so it ain't so great of how it normally looks. So I'm gonna do it this way, but I always get cammed up. But anywho, I saw a great segment talking about the Brooklyn Nets going forward, and I just wanted to show you a little bit of that clip. And then as I do these, I know y'all get more familiar with me doing these, but I just had to put this video out, man, because I feel like I'm starving y'all on content, so I got to start putting this out a little more stringently. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. And so the reason why this video resonated with me so tough is because the Brooklyn Nets have a very, very stringent sort of affairs coming down the pipeline, meaning that they have a lot of talent, they have a lot of hype, they have a lot of guessing going around their situation. And now going forward, Kyrie has made it like he always does. He never bites his tongue. He stated that just wait till after the break and you're going to see how we are. And that sounds nice. Happen to be a big Kyrie Irving fan. I have been since he first entered the league. But the timeline of what they're saying with Ben Simmons is coming back, and they'll talk about this in the video, and I'll react to it as it's going. So fair use before we even get started. But it's going to be the scrutiny that's coming in is very much warranted. And you're going to see Wiles, you're going to see Nick Wright, who, I don't care for Nick Wright, but you're going to see them make some pretty good points, as well as Chris Broussard. And you're going to see that I'm starting to question a little bit my Ben Simmons, who I actually am a fan of as well. I wonder how this is going to play out as it goes forward. So without further ado, let me do a screen share and let's get into the content, man. So I appreciate y'all for showing up. Because again, I know this is not how I normally go live. So share screen. It's been a minute since I've done one of these, so I'm a little rusty. Uh-oh. There we go. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it. So first things first, we're going to do a little bit of a segment. I won't do the whole thing. So fair use.
Lost in the mail. Better than the football one. Hope it's better than the football committee.
Right. Fireworks still to come. Let's start this morning, though, talking Harden's old team, the Brooklyn Nets. Boy, did they stumble into the All-Star break. They lost 12 of 14.
12 of 14. Damn. That's not good.
They've fallen all the way down to the 8th spot in the East, but help is on the way. Sort of. There's a report out that Ben Simmons is weeks away from a return. Not days, but not months, so sort of. That news on the heels of this quote from Kyrie, quote, "Just watch our squad after the break." So, Broussard, I'm not sure you're still as high in the...
So, and that's crazy. Again, Ben Simmons is weeks off of coming and being ready to play, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see y'all doing y'all thing. Rap God in the building, as always. My guy Rave in the building. Appreciate you, my brother. Showing love. Yeah, man, I'm going to start doing these more frequently. I know I need to be on this. And the reason why I'm not cammed up today is my ring light died on me. So, and I'm using my laptop, and my laptop cam is not great. Even it's a MacBook. It's a brand new MacBook. Camera is terrible. So, I'll have it upgraded, but appreciate y'all brothers checking in on me. And so, yep, let's keep it going. But that's crazy, man. He's weeks out the way.
The Nets, as you were earlier in this season. Kyrie says the best is yet to come. Are you equally as confident?
No, I'm not as high on them as I once was, and I'm not particularly high on them now. And Jenna, with all due respect to you, I don't think you did Kyrie's quote justice.
Let me say fair use. I know how YouTube go, man. This is transformative information here. I'm not just going off them. I've got my own commentary as well. Fair use.
Because if you listen to it, he was like, just watch. I'm telling you, just watch. Like he was talking like they're about to run through the league.
Yeah.
All right. And why would I believe
that's
they're going to
right.
run through the league? They just lost.
Now I say this, Kyrie Irving, that's just kind of how he is. He always thinks at the highest level, but Chris Broussard is right. There's no way, no how. Lost what, 12 of the last, 14, and you're going to just run through the league all of a sudden? That's not how basketball works. But let me continue.
Lost one of the best players in the league. And the guy they replaced him with, who knows where his head is at? And Ramona Shelburne's report doesn't give me confidence that he's weeks away. Why is he weeks away? It should be days, as you said.
So he kind of contradicted himself. He said it doesn't give me indication that it's going to be weeks away. Why are these weeks away? Like, so you're saying it needs to be longer than that? I don't understand the point he was making, but let me continue.
All right, he's been out for 5 months. All right, there's no reports of anything physically wrong. Why aren't you playing? He should be back next.
Rave, you're right. Yes, the media backtracks all the time. These so-called experts, man, they backtrack all the time. And reality is nobody bats 1,000, right? So I don't begrudge them for that. But yeah, they will hedge their bet. They will back off. They will do that. Absolutely. So it lets you know these dudes are not infallible. Great comment, bro.
Next week at the latest. All right, I think they have a game Monday. That should be his first game at the latest. Okay? So, and if it's mental and the same issues that he was having in Philadelphia are still in his mind and bothering him, then that's really problematic because that would suggest that nothing's changed. And we know some things have changed, but that he's going to still have these problems in Brooklyn. And if it is mental, who knows when he'll be back to himself. So I think that there is not a reason to be as optimistic as Kyrie said, Nick. And let me say this, too, before I throw it to you.
Oh, yeah.
I don't really – I think it's fair to say, Nick, I'm the biggest Kyrie fan on this show. But I don't need to hear this from Kyrie. When Kyrie's only available –
Look at Nick Wright just salivating at the mouth because you got to understand, and Rap God just said it. Oh, no, Rave just said it. No, I'm sorry, Rap God. He says how Broussard is a fanboy of LeBron's. This dude right here to the left is times 10 of whatever fanboy you think Chris Broussard is. Nick Wright, see, I don't want to go left on this post. If LeBron James needed his lower rim held by a human, Nick Wright would hold it with his mouth. I'm just saying. Let me keep going forward.
For 8 of the upcoming 23 games that are left?
Yeah.
I mean, Kyrie is darn near a...
And I say that because you got to see so Nick Wright is going to be angling because guys like this, you're so much of a fan that you feel jilted by Kyrie Irving to this day. So Nick Wright gets his jollies off of basically undermining any and everything that Kyrie does. Look at this smug look on his face. He takes so much joy in Kyrie not succeeding because that elevates the career of his, his man crush, as it were, with LeBron James. So you always got to see the angling with Nick Wright, man. And he got his boom out of the Houston media. So I've been on his ass for a long time now. And obviously I'm from Houston. So he just has a punchable face, man. I'm sorry. Let me keep going. It's just so funny, man, covering the Super Bowl 2 weeks ago. I see Rob Parker. I see Chris Broussard, like, right there. I see these guys, like, right there. These are regular people, man. These are regular people. So I don't deify any of these guys. So I just call it how I see it, man. I'm going to keep it real over here, Hoop Jargon. Let us proceed.
Fan at this point. If he had just gotten vaccinated or if New York had changed the law, I would be like, okay, I'm with that.
Now, that's a great point. That's a great point. So the fact that New York has not changed their law yet, or he's not vaccinated, meaning he won't get access to play the full amount of games. So that's a very cogent point by Chris Broussard. So that does give me a little bit of trepidation to give the cosign that the Nets are going to be back. I just don't see logistically how it's going to work. And Chris is going to lay it out a little further. But no, I think that was a very, very excellent point. Let me get y'all comments real quick and I'll go back to it. The Nets' life depend on KD. I always say, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Rave says, Nick Wright takes are so ridiculous. Nick Wright covers bad. Yeah, he does. He's a nerd though, so you got to watch for these media nerds. They didn't play the game like that, so that all they know is statistics, which stats are a big part of evaluating sports. I'm not diminishing that. His problem is that's the only way he can evaluate sports because he doesn't know sports like that. You don't know how it feels to be in certain situations, so all you can do is just throw numbers. That's why LeBron is the perfect candidate for his style of evaluation, because you just bring up numbers. You can leave context out of everything, just bring up numbers. And that's kind of why his profile is elevated so far, because the casual observer has not played basketball at a certain level. And you go off numbers, and that's an easy argument to make. It's a dumb argument, but it's an easy one to make. And you can win a lot of debates just because you just rattling off numbers. But let us continue.
I like Kyrie coming out saying it with base, but no. You can only play 8 games, dude. Like he could average 30 and 10, Nick, lead him to an 8-0 record, and they still would be. That's
a great point. You only gonna play 8 games, so how you gonna be talking all this shit? You playing 8 games. That's a great point.
500 could be 500 to finish the season. Yeah. So I don't need to hear this from Kyrie, especially when they're 4-10 in the 14 games he's played.
This is well done by Chris Broussard. I didn't even know 4-10. See, when Broussard's NBA takes are not clouded with Michael Jordan myth-making, he's just the best in the world.
That's that cock gobbler I'm talking about. Everything he does is angled towards how can I elevate LeBron James. So he's saying you clouded by Jordan, obviously to surreptitiously, which means secretively, big up his guy. I can't stand Nick Wright. I'm sorry. I make no bones about it.
Just the best there, maybe the best to ever do it. It just, if we can just stay in the here and the now, it's just good.
Imagine Chris Broussard has been in the media for what, over 25 years. Nick Wright, about 10 plus. Imagine a guy like some nerdy dude, like let's just have this on its own merit. Some nerdy dude who looks and talks like that, telling you how biased you are. And if you can take your bias out, you're better at your job. Imagine being in that seat. Imagine being this. His face is just so punchable, man. I do not like the crowd. Dante says you can't trust Kyrie regardless. I mean, he's shown that he's not trustworthy, and I like the guy, but I can't argue that, brother. Smooth and mixed light skin goodness. That's a hell of a name. 1997 said, "What up, who Jargon? Come on, people. Depreciate LeBron all the time." Well, people do depreciate LeBron. I agree with that, but I would say a swell of times 10 people appreciate LeBron. Literally, they tell you how you should be a fan of LeBron, and it comes from his camp internally. So I understand your point, but on the other side of the fence, they make you try to like everything about LeBron James, and a lot of people just like, I ain't going. All right, so Smooth also says, used to listen to Nick Wright in the CBS radio back in 2016. Yeah, I mean, again, he knows the tactical part of sports. I'm sorry, the statistical part of sports. The nuance ain't there, man. I'm sorry. I've seen him lie, just flat out lie and use numbers, especially about his boy. Nah. Nick Wright trashes anyone that elevates basketball. Exactly. He will throw you off the proverbial ship to elevate his boy with no recourse whatsoever. But let him keep going.
I echo everything Chris said. And I'm going to say something about Ben, and then Wilds, I want to show you the Nets schedule. The idea that Ben Simmons isn't going to play immediately is baffling to me. And if it's because, well, he needs to ramp up to NBA, basketball, then play him for 8 minutes, then 12 minutes, then 6.
See, again, Nick Wright shows he knows nothing about basketball. You got to get in player shape. And you don't just immediately insert a guy who's been out for 5 months. You don't play him 8 minutes like that. That doesn't. No. That's not how it goes. You play if you're gonna play him, you play him. Now that it'd be 20 some odd minutes, but you don't play. When have you ever seen a guy get implemented with 8-minute intervals? When have you ever seen that? Again, Nick Wright just talking because statistically that makes sense. No, let us proceed.
16 minutes, like ramp up in the games. He's not dealing with a physical injury, and all the reporting that I did and others did about, well, if he's traded, will that heal the mental issues he was dealing with? What I was told and what everyone was told was yes. This is about not playing basketball. This is about playing basketball for the Sixers. Well, that's gone. So the only theory I have, if we don't immediately see Ben, is that they're trying to wait until after the Sixers game.
Yeah.
That the weeks.
Now, look how punchable his face is. Now he's talking about some real stuff now, because now I'm not a big mental health person per se, but I know it exists. And in basketball at this level, it definitely is a thing. So, and I'm only saying that because Ben Simmons made a lot of his statements towards the positivity of his mental health. Well, I'm sorry, the priority of his mental health. So we can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater now. We have to factor that in with everything he does now. And I know some people can think that's unfair, but I think it's in bounds, because you said about from a mental standpoint of why the Philadelphia situation was so toxic, why you couldn't handle it. So as we go forward, we have to factor that in. And I think Nick makes a cogent point here that maybe it's because you want to get past this Philadelphia game. But I want to see in the chat, do y'all think it's because he has a mental block before the Philadelphia game? Because I think that's a fair point. When Ben's supposed to be playing, apparently in a few weeks. So I think that's a fair point. Knowing the media wants to be objective when it comes to analyzing their favorite player. Gospel, church, let us proceed forward.
Oh, he's going to be weeks, and it's after the Sixers game. So let me show you their schedule, Wilds, from now until the Sixers game. Because
that's a tough schedule, dog. That's a tough schedule. You got the former world champions, the former 2 years ago runner-up champions, the Celtics, who they can be a contender one day, can be a pretender the next. Toronto's gonna play hard, yeah, and then the 76ers. That's a rough schedule, dog.
it's brutal. The easiest game is the Hornets, who are fighting to make the play-in. They should be better than they actually are. They
That's a great point, Nick, right?
don't have a walkover in there, which is why, Wilds, I don't share Kyrie's confidence in the Nets. Their best case scenario is they get up to the 6th line. You get to the 6th line. What's your path to the finals? The Heat in round 1, and then round 2 and 3, if you were to get there against Milwaukee and Philly, or Philly and Milwaukee, they are going to be on the road against an elite opponent every round of the playoffs. So
now you're contradicting yourself again. Kyrie can play road games, so he'll be on the floor. You're contradicting yourself. These dudes do this all the time, man. You're contradicting yourself. That's crazy. You just said how he only can play road games, so that would behoove him to be on the floor. But let me continue.
No, I don't share his optimism. And the Ben Simmons stuff is vexing. Let's call it that, to say the least.
Okay, so let's just dig into your theory.
My man Wild's like he just rolled out of bed, man. Come on, bro.
That he might be trying to miss that March 10th game. I wouldn't have an issue if he wanted to miss that game. I would like to have him go and treat the Sixers like Jimmy Butler treated the Timberwolves starters.
We would want that, but Ben Simmons, I think we all can understand. Ben Simmons and Jimmy Butler nowhere close to the same kind of guys. I think we all understand that. Jimmy Butler is a have-not kind of guy, meaning he got his situation out the mud. Coming out from he's from Houston, Tomball to be exact, which is like a little podunk town right north of Houston. He had to grind for everything he got. Ben Simmons has been coddled for most of his life, playing at Montverde Prep, going to LSU, number 1 overall draft pick. Come on, man. Their stories ain't the same. They ain't the same kind of dude. So you would like that, but if we're being honest, come on, man.
Where he just said, you know what, you need me, and lay waste to the entire franchise.
He ain't that dude.
That is the I know, but that's what I want. But I also wouldn't have an issue if, you know what, I know I said I wanted to be ready. I changed my mind. I decided I don't want to go there. I've got some bad memories there. I don't think I can get my head right, but I'm going to play these games and skip that game. Nick, would you have an issue for that? I would be fine with
That's better.
I think that is
listen.
And so in Hoop's purest world, oh man, I don't want no guy who thinks like that at all around my team. But we are where we are now. And the Nets had to have sat down with Ben and to try to understand fully what he's about at this point going forward. And this is, again, you open the can of worms, so now we have to question your mental stability all the way through. And me personally, I wouldn't want a guy made that kind of mental stuff. If you like, dude, I would want more of a Jimmy Butler type than just, everything, I'm just going to run through the wall. So that's a very, very salient point that he lays out there.
And I wouldn't be fine with it. I'm sorry. I wouldn't endorse that. But I think to me, there's like three options. One is play as soon as possible and just play a full schedule. That's option A. Option B is play as soon as possible, skip the Sixers game, but other than that, play a full schedule the rest of the way.
Now, if he did that, if he played every game and skipped the Sixers game, oh my God. And this is how disingenuous Nick Wright is. Nick Wright would totally bring that up later, especially if it had anything to do with infringing on who. He would totally bring that up and hold that against him. So he is so disingenuous, man. Let us proceed.
Option C is come back after the Sixers game. I would rank them as far as best to worst in that exact order. I would think it'd be better to just skip the Sixers game but play leading up to it. But the best option is just play.
And not only Nick Wright, if he skipped that game, the media would, oh my God, they would tear him up for being mentally weak. Even though you got to toe the line with the mental health thing, they would tear his ass up, especially a guy like Shaq. Shaq, oh my God. Don't do that, Ben Simmons. Do not do that. Play every game except that. Do not do that, sir.
He's got to play. Like, I don't, this idea that he's not ready to play yet is perplexing to me.
Well, I don't think it's perplexing. I think it's sad that we're watching a guy who's afraid. He was afraid in Philadelphia, and he's afraid now. And I think, Nick, you hit it on the head. He is waiting for after the Sixers game. It's as simple as...
Now, that's conjecture. You don't know that. But, again, when you open that portal, when you open that the can of worms, you can't put those worms back in that can. So, this is what happens when you take that mental break, excuse, explanation, however you want to shake it out as. This is what comes after that. A lot of scrutiny.
What is that? And from your options, I think A would be best. Come back and play. Heck, you should be playing Thursday. I think their first game is Thursday.
Yeah.
Fair use. All
right. If you don't play then, I would say wait until after the Sixers game. I'm not endorsing that, but in your list of options, I think that's better, because if he comes and plays and he plays all the games up to the Sixers, looks however he looks, and then sits out that game, it just speaks to the mental weakness. And I know people might.
Bingo. You can't do that. Under no circumstance can you play every game except that one. Absolutely not.
Get mad because we're dealing with mental health here. Okay, and that's fair. But
Chris Broussard just said, I don't give a shit what y'all talking about. Because Chris Broussard understands basketball. He understands the culture. And so today, in today's world, people try to interweave their current modern, some would say liberal principles, and they try to inject it into sports. And a lot of guys who are real sports guys, we ain't going. Because we understand sports culture supersedes outside culture. So in short verse, mental health issue has been a focus since about, I would say, Royce White, about 6-7 years ago. He kind of came into the league and he kind of opened the can of worms on that. So it's slowly, matriculated into the sports world. But from just average, just the average sports opinion, the average sports consciousness, nobody trying to hear that shit. So, and I applaud him for no, you're not going to start this shit where all these guys gonna start taking mental breaks and it diminishes the overall skill set. Now, if you've really been affected, sit out, no problem. But we're not gonna start making excuses for guys when it starts to become too much of a thing. And I got to give Chris Broussard some kudos for getting ahead of that and kind of doing it in an unabashed fashion. Let us proceed.
I just think there's a degree of mental toughness. Yeah, that's right.
You see Nick try to clean it up for him. I don't blame him for that. You don't want your boy to get hung to dry, because people will ream you if you go against these little tropes. that they say about body shaming, body positivity, mental health, and yada yada yada. You know you can't get reamed for that. Now, personally, your boy Hoop Jargon don't care, but I understand he trying to throw a lifeline to his boy.
Right, because you need a degree of mental toughness to play professional sports. And Ben is going to have to fight through this. He can't go through his career being afraid of playing a rival team in the Eastern Conference. Like this is what I meant by question marks when the trade was made. I get everybody raving about the Nets on paper because Ben at his best would be a great fit. But it seems like he's got a mental block that.
I guarantee this dude partied all night. Look at this. Look at to the right. That dude looked like a mess, man. Look at this dude, man. This dude was drunk as hell last night. Nobody can convince me otherwise.
That could really derail him and the Nets the rest of the season. That's why I'm more optimistic about next season than this one with the Nets, Wilds.
Yeah, I mean, you said that you feel sad. So I think we all feel a level of sympathy that we want Ben to achieve his potential. The thing that I'm worried about, Nick, is we haven't seen any video of Ben. I saw Ben like holding a basketball and like talking to Kevin Durant. I haven't seen like a solid practice or like a cool dunk. Like, I think it's a little bizarre that part of this is going to be a public reception. And I think that should weigh in on how Ben Simmons debuts. Like, hey, here's.
I agree with that, Rap God. Yep. That alpha mentality. So all that stuff that they said that you putting them kids in the fire. One thing you don't question for these kids is, are they mentally checking out? Are they not committed to basketball? You never question that for them. And I can tell you from a firsthand experience, LeVar Ball ain't raised that in them kind of kids. Great point, sir.
Here's the trailer for how awesome I'm going to be. Look at these dunks in practice. I think whetting the appetite a little bit and getting some public momentum and happiness behind him would go a long way when we finally see him.
But you know how it goes when you have a fear of something. The longer you wait to re-engage, the harder it is to re-engage. And
that's a good point. You gotta face your shit. Great point.
And the longer he waits, right? You said this, Broussard, the longer he sits in his head and he thinks about all the options and all the possibilities, and it becomes a block, a physical and a mental block. And we've seen that before.
That reminds me of when I learned how to swim. I remember my parents telling me at the end of the summer, my 5th grade year, the 6th grade year, I was going to learn how to swim. Oh, my God. I was scared the whole year. I thought I was going to drown. It was going to be my parents' fault. I'm going to come back and haunt them as a ghost. So in my 6th grade mind, that's legit how I thought about the fear of learning how to swim. I was cool with just holding on to the side with the little, I didn't have the floaties, but just stay in the shallow side. Like I was cool with that. But I knew that summer I had to learn how to swim, and it just the build-up mentally it was overwhelming. But when I got my ass in that water, I learned how to swim the first day. It was no big deal after that. And that's kind of what Ben Simmons has to do. He has to learn how to swim again. Learn how to swim again. Get back out there. Because once you get out there, it's like riding a bike, man. It'll all come back to you.
So, by the way,
And
Nets
Jenna,
start back up. You said it Thursday night. They face the Celtics. Yeah, what's up, Nick?
Jenna, to that point, just quickly, if you don't play in Philly.
And this dude don't put this goddamn marker down. I don't know why that aggravates me so much with this marker he got in his hand. I don't like it.
There's a good chance if the Nets get out of round 1, you're going to have to play a whole series against them. Against the Sixers.
Exactly.
I think it'd be way better to get over it
Get it out of the
in
way,
the regular season than.
Hey, that's a good point, Nick. Right? It's only so long you can run for your problems, man. You're gonna have to face them, and that's anybody.
Then have the first time be in the postseason, Jenna. Yeah,
exactly.
I think that's right.
All right, we got more to come on this.
All right, so that's it on that. And so I just wanted to, accentuate that because I thought that was a really good series. And I don't watch a lot of Nick Wright, but I'm not gonna lie, I was a little triggered at first. But then I started listening. I was like, this is a pretty good segment. So halfway through, I was like, well, let me go make a video. So I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna start doing these more often. So I appreciate the fact that y'all was out here being so engaging. So if y'all have not done so, sub to the channel, hit the like button. And as always, we're gonna have LeVar Ball take us home. LeVar and Kendrick Perkins. Shout out to J&J video with my new updated video. And till next time, I'm out. Peace.
Shout out to Hoops Jargon, man. I'm gonna add you to the crew, man. This crew called Hoops Jargon. They've been getting at it, man. They the ones that's gonna grill you, man, because they majority all Houston people. So that's
shout out to Hoops Jargon. Man, I'm here with my man with Hoop Jargon, the best in the game, man. And you know I only let selected few in my circle. And this is the real dude right here. We gonna get down with the get down.